Hello, everybody. We are going to be going over the listing agreement, page 3 of the Michigan listing agreement. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments, whether it's live or later, and I'll make sure to get back to you. As always, if I go too fast, too slow, don't go carefully enough, whatever you need, just let me know. So page number 3 starts on, here we go. Number 13, title. In the event of the sale, the seller will convey in writing to convey by warranty deed marketable title to the property subject to conditions, limitations, reservation of oil, gas, or mineral rights, existing zoning ordinances, and building and use restrictions and easements of record. An expanded coverage, Alta homeowner's policy of title insurance in the amount of the purchase price shall be ordered by seller and furnished to buyer at seller's expense, and a commitment to issue a policy ensuring marketable title vested in buyer, including a real estate tax status report. If the property is not an existing residential structure, like a 1 to 4 family unit on a residential parcel or a condominium unit, then a standard owner's policy, title policy, insurance shall be provided. Number 14 is possession and occupancy. This is so different for everybody. So the possession is to be delivered to buyer upon the completion of the closing of the sale. Seller shall request the privilege to occupy the property, yes or no, basically, until the completion of the closing of the sale. So as soon as it's funded, the buyer gets possession, and until including how many days after the completion of the closing of the sale, unless otherwise agreed in an executed purchase agreement. Seller may be asked by buyer to pay a fee for seller's occupancy past the completion of the closing of the sale. Occupancy is subject to the rights of present tenants, if any. So if you have renters, they don't just have to get out because you're selling your house, right? They have rights. They have contractual rights. So if you have a contract with renters, definitely make sure the buyer and seller understand the implications of that and that the renters understand what's going on. Number 15 is marketing. Broker is authorized to market the property through any media and to record and or display interior or exterior photos. Seller consents to the placement of video and or still images of property on the internet and other forms of social media. Seller acknowledges that broker has limited control over third-party marketing of property, and broker is also authorized to place a for sale sign on property and to remove all other for sale signs. If any broker is authorized to have access to property and all parts thereof during reasonable hours for the purposes of showing. Broker is or is not authorized to use an electronic key combination or lockbox. We use central lock, so we would push electronic. Number 16 is the authorization to order services. If seller requests broker to procure any services on behalf of seller, then the seller agrees that the broker will make those contacts solely for seller's conveyance, and seller agrees to be responsible to select service providers, retain and pay for the providers, and review the results of the services and documents that result from those contacts. Broker shall not have any liability to seller for making any referral for any service providers. Number 17 is the submission of offers. Seller agrees that all offers and counteroffers shall or shall not continue to be submitted until closing. Seller further agrees that shall not obligate broker to continue to market the property after an offer has been accepted by the seller. So if you are a listing agent and you come across this section, basically what this means is even if it goes pending, you can still show the property. If it's pending and still active because maybe you've negotiated that because the buyer has to sell their house before they can buy your house, you can put shall, right, or shall not. You can still show the house. You can still accept offers. They're not going to totally, unless it's not negotiated and it's contingent on selling a house. It's not going to just push the first offer out of the way. It's just going to be a backup one so that you have something to come back to. Potentially they could be gone, but ultimately it's like your first person to go back and give the right of first refusal to. Number 18 is non-discrimination. The parties acknowledge that discrimination on part of a real estate broker, real estate licensee, seller, or lessor because of religion, race, color, national origin, age, sex, and marital status, height, weight, physical or mental disability, or familial status is discriminated by law. To try chicken. Sorry, I can hear my baby crying. I just want to make sure that they're trying everything out there. I'm sure they are. Seller is advised that the receipt and consideration of information contained in a letter from the buyer accompanying an offer to purchase may result in a violation of federal or state fair housing laws. Seller directs the broker that letters from the buyer will not be presented with any offer to purchase. So we actually don't take letters anymore. Modifications. Contract can be modified or amended only if broker and seller agree in writing. Number 20, seller's disclosure statement. Pursuant to Michigan law, the seller will complete a seller's disclosure statement for delivery to potential buyers of the property. If the condition of the property changes, the seller agrees to immediately update the disclosure. Number 21 is seller's representation of age of structure. Seller represents and warrants that the property was built. Choose one in 78 or later or prior to 78. And then if you don't know anything about the Lead-Based Paint Act, if the house was built prior to 78, you have to fill out a lead-based paint disclosure. And after 78, you don't have to, but we still do as a brokerage. And these are all the things to consider if it was built prior to 78. So if you want to go to sleep, feel free to read that. I'm not going to waste your guys' time talking about lead-based paint when it's not something that's truly large and in charge in the world right now. Number 23, seller acknowledges and agrees that the price, terms, and other details with respect to the closed sale of this property are not confidential and will be disclosed to realtors who will participate in the multiple listing service. Now, I will say about number 22 for lead-based paint, the sellers must provide buyers with a copy of the pamphlet Protect Your Family from Lead, which we do have, and we put in all of our loops. A copy of this pamphlet is available from your realtor. And sellers must permit a buyer a 10-day period, unless they agree on a different time, to have the property tested for lead-based paint. So if you guys need anything, if you have any questions, of course, put them down below. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow for page 4.